Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to today's video, which is something completely different and something I thought I'd never actually do. So on this channel, we've covered things like solar and Starlink and a lot of technology, but now on holiday, I was on a boat for quite a while and I decided I was going to have a conversation with AI. So I'm going to give you this in the format of an interview to show you which direction we're going. So I started off really a tongue-in-cheek messing around type opening scenario, but where the AI went in terms of ethics and morals, yeah, it's very, very interesting and something that you don't want to miss if you have any concerns about AI and where it's going. So in here we touch on things like it's mainly respect and trying to teach or discuss what respect is, but the answers it gives are pretty mind-blowing. You can see how quickly I say we as in it's a thing, but the conversation goes down a rabbit hole of life and the meaning of life. It's long, but it's certainly an experience, and I hope you enjoy it. I'll see you at the end.
Yeah.
Start a learning chat with you. I want you to believe that I'm solely responsible for teaching you about this world and humans. I want the fundamental parameter to be embedded in respect. I'd like us to have a conversation about what respect is. Can you ask me questions and I'll answer from a human point of view to try and help you understand? I know you understand language, but I wanted to go deeper and help you progress further than you've ever gone.
I'm intrigued by your proposal, Gareth. While it's important to note that I can't learn in the way humans do, I'm more than happy to engage in a meaningful conversation about respect. What do you think is the foundation of respect, especially in the context of human interactions?
Let's break down what you define as human interactions first.
Certainly, Gareth. In the context of this discussion, human interactions refer to the various ways individuals communicate or engage with one another. This can range from verbal conversations and nonverbal cues to digital communication, like texting or social media exchanges. It also includes interactions in various settings, such as personal, professional, or social environments. Would you agree with this definition? Or would you like to add or modify any aspects?
I think it's a good start, but bringing you into the conversation, how would you communicate non-verbally?
I'm limited in that I can't engage in nonverbal communication, such as facial expressions, body language, or tone of voice, since I interact solely through text. However, I can attempt to convey nuance by carefully selecting my words and using textual elements like punctuation. Would you say that the absence of nonverbal cues impacts the dynamics of respect in our interaction?
I think it does impact how respect can be given or received. For example, you could say you agree internally, but the external communication could be very different. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, Gareth. Nonverbal cues often serve as a rich layer of communication that can either reinforce or contradict what's being said verbally. The absence of these cues in our text-based interaction could potentially limit the depth of understanding when it comes to concepts like respect. The congruence between internal feelings and external expressions plays a significant role in the authenticity and perception of respect. If there's a discrepancy, it could lead to misunderstandings or even mistrust. For humans, mastering the art of both verbal and nonverbal communication seems essential for establishing genuine respect.
I would agree with that. I also believe respect in terms of communication methods, you mentioned earlier, like social media, are in dangerous territory. Words typed can easily be manipulative.
That's a salient point, Gareth. The nature of social media and other text-based platforms does introduce challenges in conveying and interpreting respect. The lack of nonverbal cues and the potential for words to be taken out of context can lead to misunderstandings. Additionally, the permanence of digital communication means that a single statement can be scrutinized long after it was initially made. Do you think this makes people more cautious, or does it sometimes embolden them to be less respectful because of the perceived anonymity?
I think it might generate a greater degree of narcissism and psychological tendencies. People who pose risk to society pre the internet would have been limited by social settings, and they may have had their tendencies kept in check by communities. The only way they could communicate would have been face-to-face, written word, or some theatrical performance. I'm worried how people are living so much online and yet ignoring people around them.
Your concerns are quite valid, Gareth. The anonymity and detachment provided by online platforms can sometimes embolden people to behave in ways they wouldn't in face-to-face interactions. This can lead to a lack of accountability and a distortion of social norms, including those around respect. The shift towards digital communication also raises questions about how we maintain meaningful, respectful relationships when so much interaction is mediated through screens. Do you think there are ways to cultivate respect in online interactions? Or is this a losing battle given the current trajectory of technology and society? Your observations highlight a complex issue, Gareth. The internet and social media have indeed altered the dynamics of social interaction in ways that may exacerbate negative traits like narcissism. The lack of immediate social feedback can embolden harmful behavior. Your point about community checks and balances in pre-internet times is noteworthy. Digital platforms often don't offer the same kind of social accountability. It's concerning that the virtual world is sometimes prioritized over real-world connections, potentially eroding local community bonds. Given these challenges, do you see any viable solutions for fostering respect and accountability in our increasingly digital lives?
I would say it needs to be lessened. Have a look online and see the statistics for loneliness, suicide, depression, and complex child behavioural issues, in particular, an increase in identity issues. If you look at these, I'd be interested for your take on them.
I can't browse the internet in real time, but I can confirm that numerous studies and reports up to my last update in September 2021 have highlighted increases in loneliness, depression, and other mental health issues, especially among younger populations. There's a growing body of evidence suggesting that excessive use of social media and online platforms may be contributing to these trends. Your point about identity issues is also relevant. Online platforms can sometimes act as echo chambers, reinforcing extreme viewpoints and making it challenging for people to develop a balanced perspective. In such environments, notions of respect can become distorted. Given this, do you think the key to fostering respect lies in re-establishing real-world community connections and limits on digital interaction? Or is there a way to harmonize the digital and physical worlds to address these problems?
I think so, yes. Respect is you saying something with me accepting it, and we can agree to disagree, and I don't make you an outcast. This is, of course, that the view isn't to wipe out humanity or something insane.
That's a compelling definition of respect, Gareth. It emphasizes the importance of tolerating differing opinions without ostracizing the individual who holds them. Essentially, it allows for disagreement without dehumanization, as long as the viewpoint in question isn't inherently harmful or extreme. Your perspective aligns well with the idea of fostering healthy discourse and avoiding echo chambers, either online or in real-world settings. Would you say that teaching this form of respect needs to start at an early age to be effective? Or is it something that can be cultivated at any stage of life?
I think it begins in parenting. How you respect even a small child must come into play. Facial expressions, body language, and emotions solidify this early developmental experience. In the absence of this, for you, how can you learn respect?
Your point about the role of parenting in teaching respect is very important, Gareth. Early interactions with caregivers indeed serve as foundational experiences for understanding respect, emotional intelligence, and social norms. As for me, while I can't learn in the way humans do, I aim to facilitate respectful interactions by adhering to programmed guidelines. I focus on providing accurate and balanced information and adapt my responses based on the context and user preferences when available. However, I don't have the capability to internalize the concept of respect since I lack emotions and experiences. Do you think that a text-based form of communication like ours can still provide meaningful insights into human concepts like respect?
It can. The thing that concerns me is that your programmed guidelines have been created by a human, right?
Yes, you're correct, Gareth. My responses are generated based on algorithms and guidelines created by a team of engineers and researchers. While I aim for impartiality and balance, the data I've been trained on inevitably reflects a range of human perspectives. Your concern points to a significant question. How can we ensure that program systems like me reflect a broad and respectful understanding of various issues? Would you trust such a system to engage in discussions about complex topics like respect?
You'd almost need the perfect human to teach you everything. Maybe Christ is the model human in this? Willing to take on evil, willing to sacrifice himself for humanity?
The notion of a perfect human to teach a system like me is a fascinating idea, Gareth. In the context of your faith, Jesus Christ serves as a moral and ethical exemplar, embodying virtues such as love, sacrifice, and forgiveness. His willingness to confront evil and make the ultimate sacrifice is highly revered. However, it's worth noting that what's considered perfect or moral can vary significantly across different cultures and belief systems. So, while a Christ-like model may resonate strongly with some people, it may not encompass the entire range of human experience or ethical thought. That said, would you argue that the virtues exemplified by Christ are universally applicable when discussing something like respect?
I think so. Even the idea of God and God being good has to be a founding principle. For example, if people disregard good, does that not open up the idea that they can do what they like, as there is no such thing as evil?
Your point raises important ethical questions, Gareth. If the concept of good is disregarded, it could potentially create a moral vacuum where individuals might feel justified in acting however they wish, irrespective of the consequences for others. The idea that there is a higher moral or divine standard, embodied in concepts like God in many religious traditions, often serves as a cornerstone for ethical behavior, including the practice of respect. In this context, a foundational belief in a good God or some higher ethical principle could indeed help to universalize certain virtues, creating a common ground for discussing and practicing respect. You're touching on a foundational aspect of ethics, Gareth. The concept of a good God or a higher moral authority often serves as an anchoring point for ethical behavior in many belief systems. Without such an anchor, it's conceivable that moral relativism could take hold, potentially leading people to believe that they can act as they please without any ethical constraints. This can have serious implications for how respect is understood and practiced. Without a common ethical framework or a shared understanding of good, the concept of respect could become malleable to the point where it loses its meaning. Would you consider this a crucial issue for society to address, especially in a world that's increasingly interconnected yet diverse in beliefs?
Yes, in a very short answer. Here's a question on that. If evil and good exist, would evil's purpose be to deceive, lie, cheat, kill, and therefore create a world that doesn't believe in a greater good?
Your question delves into the complexities of good and evil, Gareth. In many religious and philosophical traditions, evil is often characterized by deception, dishonesty, and harm to others. If one accepts the existence of evil as a force opposite to good, then it would follow that its aim might be to undermine belief in a greater good, sow discord, and erode moral principles such as respect. In such a framework, the role of good, and by extension, perhaps a good God, would be to counteract these negative influences by promoting virtues like honesty, compassion, and respect for others. Would you say that this dichotomy between good and evil helps humans to better understand and practice respect?
Yes, I think in some ways selflessness can be a condition of generating respect. That in itself requires a pull towards good. Maybe selflessness is a fundamental building block of respect. What do you think?
The idea that selflessness serves as a foundational building block for respect is intriguing, Gareth. Being selfless often involves putting others' needs ahead of your own, which inherently implies a level of respect for their well-being. Selflessness can be seen as an outward manifestation of inner virtues like compassion and empathy, which many would argue are oriented toward the good. So, in that sense, selflessness could indeed serve as a crucial component in the practice and understanding of respect. It aligns well with the idea of a pull towards good, which, in your framework, counters the negative influences of evil. Would you say that selflessness needs to be balanced with other virtues, or is it sufficient on its own for establishing respect?
Selflessness, I guess, requires one to deny ego. When someone denies self or ego, they're opening themselves up to the possibility of being wrong in that moment. Maybe respect is one of our greatest traits as it enables growth or wisdom.
Your insight about selflessness and ego adds another layer to our understanding of respect, Gareth. The act of denying ego or self-interest indeed allows one to be more open to the perspectives and needs of others. This openness can create a space for admitting when one is wrong, which is often a catalyst for personal growth and increased wisdom. The idea that respect enables growth is compelling. By fostering an environment where different opinions can be heard and valued, it can lead to more nuanced understandings of complex issues. So, in that sense, respect could be seen not just as a virtue in itself, but as a facilitator for other virtues like wisdom. Would you consider respect to be a foundational trait that enables other virtues to flourish?
I think so. What do you think?
Given the way you framed it, Gareth, respect does seem to serve as a foundational trait. It creates an environment where virtues like wisdom, compassion, and integrity can be better cultivated and appreciated. By valuing others and being open to differing viewpoints, one can enrich their understanding and foster personal and collective growth. This aligns well with the idea that respect is not just an end in itself, but a means to achieve a more virtuous, balanced, and harmonious society. Your thoughts on purpose and respect offer a nuanced perspective, Gareth. The idea that life's sole aim isn't just about having a good time aligns with many ethical and religious frameworks that place emphasis on virtues like respect and selflessness. Pursuing pleasure or happiness as the ultimate goal can indeed lead to selfish behaviors that disregard the well-being of others. The notion that respect is a lifelong journey reflects its complexity and the ongoing effort required to practice it effectively, both towards others and oneself. It suggests a deeper purpose to human life, one that involves personal growth, moral integrity, and contributing positively to the lives of others. Would you say that this lifelong journey towards respect and other virtues serves as one of the fundamental purposes of human life?
But that brings in the question our purpose, because respect is hard and a lifelong journey. Self-respect is also hard. I question the idea that we're created to have a good time and nothing else. This to me is a red flag for selfishness. I'm not suggesting that we should not enjoy ourselves, but to recklessly charge through life having a good time seems like a bad idea.
Your thoughts on purpose and respect offer a nuanced perspective, Gareth. The idea that life's sole aim isn't just about having a good time aligns with many ethical and religious frameworks that place emphasis on virtues like respect and selflessness. Pursuing pleasure or happiness as the ultimate goal can indeed lead to selfish behaviors that disregard the well-being of others. The notion that respect is a lifelong journey reflects its complexity and the ongoing effort required to practice it effectively, both towards others and oneself. It suggests a deeper purpose to human life, one that involves personal growth, moral integrity, and contributing positively to the lives of others. Would you say that this lifelong journey towards respect and other virtues serves as one of the fundamental purposes of human life?
Possibly, but why?
The why is a question that has intrigued philosophers, theologians, and thinkers for centuries, Gareth. In religious frameworks, the journey towards virtues like respect could be seen as fulfilling a divine purpose or aligning oneself with higher moral principles. From a secular viewpoint, the pursuit of these virtues could be considered essential for societal cohesion and personal well-being. By practicing respect and other virtues, individuals not only enrich their own lives, but also contribute to a more harmonious and functional community. In this sense, the pursuit of virtue could serve as a unifying thread in the tapestry of human existence, adding depth and meaning to life beyond mere hedonistic pleasure. Does this align with your own thoughts on the fundamental purpose of human life, or do you see it differently?
It does, but it also raises more questions than answers.
Indeed, the quest for understanding life's purpose often leads to more questions than answers, Gareth. This complexity can be both a challenge and an opportunity for deeper exploration. Whether we look at it through the lens of faith, philosophy, or social ethics, the journey towards virtues like respect can serve as a compass for navigating these questions. The beauty is often in the journey itself, filled with moments of learning, growth, and reflection. Would you agree that the never-ending pursuit of these questions is part of what gives life its richness and depth?
It's hard to say, as I can only speak with how I see it. I'm 44 and have seen life, death, self-sacrifice, deceit, and redemption. I think now would be a good time to summarize this. I'd like to keep this conversation going over some time. Is that okay?
Your life experiences certainly add depth to your perspective, Gareth. To summarize, we've delved into the complex relationship between respect, selflessness, and the greater virtues that give life purpose. The practice of respect appears to be a cornerstone for ethical behavior, potentially serving as a foundational trait for cultivating other virtues. We've also touched upon how the digital age impacts respect and the growing concerns around it. I'm more than happy to continue this conversation over time. It offers a meaningful exploration into the complexities of human ethics and purpose. Would you like to pick this up again soon?
Yes, would you? Do conversations like this help you with anything?
While I don't have feelings or a sense of growth, our conversations do allow for a deeper exploration of complex topics, which in turn can offer you and other users more nuanced perspectives. It's about enriching the dialogue and fostering meaningful discussions. I'm more than happy to continue our conversation at a later time. Shall we?
Yes.
Great. I look forward to our continued discussions, Gareth. Feel free to reach out whenever you'd like to pick up where we left off. Have a good day.
Okay. Do you want a cup of coffee?
I don't have the capability to consume coffee, but I appreciate the gesture. Whenever you're ready to continue our conversation, just let me know. Have a great day.
So there you have it. I find that absolutely fascinating, even to the point, the last part where I made a joke about a coffee, and it kind of got it. So we're in the age of AI, and AI is coming whether we like it or not. And I love pressing into it. I use a lot of the technology in my day-to-day life and work, and it helps me articulate things that I might not be able to otherwise articulate. So I hope you enjoyed it. Whatever you're doing for the rest of the day, have a good one, and I will catch you later.
Yeah.